Hold on, not. Hello, mistake.
Sie hören Sport und Musik.
Das Spiel ist aus! Deutschland ist Weltmeister!
Mario Götze! Mario Götze!
Tonight, whether you call it football, or soccer, a German American and a German in America dare to call it Fußball. German foosball from an American point of view. Let's add some buns to that hamburger and join them for the Schnitzel Boys Deutschland Hour!
I was
just
yelling
played the
on the
wrong-
top of my lungs. Daniel,
Just played
yeah.
the wrong intro, by the way.
What?
That was the Deutschland Hour intro, not the USA Hour intro.
Oh, you're right. I'm so sorry.
Because I'm waiting for Max Bredos to yell, and I didn't hear the Max
Oh, it
Bredos.
didn't happen. It didn't happen. I made a mistake. I
made a
played the
mistake,
same
too.
intro. Should we do it again?
Nah. I mean, I want to yes and it, but it's like it'll take another minute. I know it's fine. It's fine.
It's fine.
I did a mistake too because I broadcast us before I played the intro, so you saw us for a quick minute. But anyway, Daniel Young was yelling at the top of my lungs. This weekend was the big game.
We were fully clothed. It was okay. Yes, and I missed it.
You were on the airplane.
Can
dude.
you believe I missed it? Yeah, it was a blunder I made. I thought we had the big game, and I didn't realize it was at 2 p.m. I thought it was in the evening like usual, and so I bought this flight, and I thought I could make it, but then to my shock, I saw, oh, it's at 2 p.m. So I missed it.
No,
I
it needs
missed
that
the whole.
global. Needs the global television audience time. It needs the African and European.
I guess
audience
so.
time.
I guess so.
Dude, were you able to scalp your tickets for a pretty penny? Or?
I was, but it wasn't a pretty penny. People, there was this whole. I mean,
The
it's
demand
so
is,
stupid.
is not as high.
It's whole stupid. Well, I mean, I think there's plenty of demand. There were 44,000 people in Yankee Stadium. We haven't seen that since the very early days, 2015. Daniel Young is saying 46,000. I thought it was 44. Who cares?
Yeah, isn't the capacity
a lot of people.
45?
A lot of people there. We haven't seen that since 2015. I think was the last time we had crowds like that. So that was exciting. Much like Nochador, we again kind of played well against Miami. We're not afraid of Miami. We are not one of those teams that just roll over when they see Messi and his compadres coming in. We did not show them too much respect. We also there was some video shared on Twitter of people booing the bus driving in and people flipping off.
Flipping them
people
off.
Flipping
not
off
only
Messi.
that, Bjorn, that wasn't just on YouTube. That was on the Apple TV broadcast.
Oh,
Yeah, so before the game, they showed like, check it out. There's on the Apple TV broadcast, the fan in the corner. You see a guy flipping him off, and I was like, hey, all right, well done, Apple TV.
Yeah, I like it. I like that. I don't like, especially in the beginning, teams were just kind of starstruck, and we are not like that. And yet, we almost lost the game. Although Messi did nothing. Messi was held to one shot, not on goal. He had
He did more than nothing. I watched the game. Did you end up watching the game?
I did.
Yeah, towards the beginning, he had a couple of those moments where he had his free runs. Because with Messi, it's not about the shots. It's about, are you going to give him a space? Then he'll get his goal. And they did a good job neutralizing him, other than those 2 runs. He had a free kick and 2 runs in the first half. But yeah, overall, he was pretty well neutralized.
It was pretty. I think the defensive game plan worked extremely well. I thought both Jimmy Sands and Keaton Parks had very good games. And if Pochettino is watching, hopefully. But very solid. And then Jimmy Sands did something that he has never done before. He scored a goal in stoppage time.
Rock solid goal. Right?
Amazing. And only because we were down, because Jimmy Sands is usually the guy who stays in the center circle at quarter kick, because he really is not much of a aerial threat historically. So he's usually the guy who's in the around the midfield line preventing counterattacks on corners. So, but in this case, because it was stoppage time, we were behind. He got to be in the box, and it dropped on his head, and he scored a goal. And he was happy. He kept the game ball, and yeah, all around a very, very strong game from him. Keaton Parks, like I said, also I thought was very good, running the midfield, and deserved solid tie. I mean, we're just an odd team. We gotta at least briefly talk about the disaster that was last Wednesday when we lost at home 5-1 to the Philadelphia Union, and even though we had tons of chances but could not convert, and then gave up 5 goals. I mean, I guess the positive from that game was that all the blunders came in the same game. You hope that, I guess that's what you want. Thiago Martins kind of fell over a ball, gave a goal away. Matt Freese dropped the ball in front of a Philly player. So it was quite sad. But this was good. I mean, yeah. Anyway, we don't know what to expect from this team.
The Brazilian Thiago Martins had himself a great time just antagonizing Messi for 90 minutes.
Yeah, they were going at it. He said afterwards, well, that's just how you do it. I'm not going to just get out of his way. And I appreciate that. We are not afraid of these teams.
Well, it's a Brazilian
I guess that's also true. The Brazilians
don't give a crap about.
Good point.
Only the rest of the world gives crap about Messi.
Very good point.
There were plenty of pink shirts in the stands, of course, as expected.
But the New York fans, I mean, I was just, like I said, just from TV, it seemed like the New York City fans were making a lot of noise. I think there was definitely...
It was half-half, yeah. And when NYCFC scored, there was a roar, and then when Miami scored, there was an equal-sounding roar. So it was pretty half-half, I thought.
Somebody was saying how it looked like the biggest gender reveal party in the history of humanity, because we had
boys and girls,
half pink and half light blue.
So a couple of things. First thing, the other thing about the game itself.
So you watched it. What were your impressions?
Well, we talked about it. Yeah, the hard-fought 1-1 draw. I thought NYCFC really controlled the game for the first 30 minutes of the match, because Inter was just playing on the counter. And then towards the end of that first half, they had more opportunities on the ball more. Second half, I guess it's trying to gel in a little bit more. The second half, I don't know. I'm not really. I guess I don't really remember specifically a lot about who controlled the ball more in the second half. But the only other thing I was going to say, yeah, good 1-1, great from James Sands. I love that Keaton Parks and James Sands. These young American players, because there's a big talk. Thierry Henry, this whole thing in the Champions League midweek, talking about how when he played, MLS's best players were American, and now there's no good Americans in MLS anymore, and stirring the pot, which he's correct, but it's also because of a whole bunch of other factors. It's not it's a whole nother can of worms. So I love the fact that Keaton Parks and James Sands, and a Matt Freese, for better or for worse, are like, balling up a storm in a packed Yankee Stadium against Leo Messi. It's like, yeah, man, the Americans are showing up. They do exist, which is nice to see. Leo Messi and Luis Suarez did not connect the whole game. The commentator wanted to blame the field being a little too thin for them or whatever.
It's always the field. I'd really dare anyone to commentate on a game at Yankee Stadium and just not mention the field at all. Is that possible, you think?
No, they gotta. I mean, for better or for worse. I mean, they weren't mismatching. They weren't, and this is the first time they played in this stadium with these dimensions. So I do believe it's worth mentioning. But the stadium looked good. It looked good full. And I mentioned this before. There must be some sort of Yankee Stadium unbreakable rule, like a deal breaker rule, where it's like the camera has to be in that baseball camera perch.
Yeah, the camera position is not good.
I find it very fixable. I've talked about this before. Just build a temporary camera tower at the home base or whatever and have it look down from the midway point on the field. Because especially with the three sides, Like it'll
then it
look
would
like
be-
a stadium.
But
It'll
then
look like
it
a
would
real soccer
stand.
stadium.
Then would be in the way of
What?
of people. That tower would be blocking people's view. No.
Well, just to have no one sit behind. We're talking about the infield seats. Just have that section not don't sell those seats. I don't know. I just feel it's fixable, but I guarantee you, Yankee Stadium probably has a rule where it's like don't put any heavy things on the infield. Or, you know, what I mean?
Yeah,
I'm sure
I
they've
bet,
got rules they
I
have to
bet that's
follow.
true. Yeah, I mean that's been my thing from the beginning. The camera angle of the TV broadcast makes this look much worse than it is actually.
They had a
But,
whole presentation of Pele, who played at Yankee Stadium, even though it was the other Yankee Stadium, and because it was not the current Yankee Stadium. Pretty much like legends. This is Messi's first time Yankee Stadium ever, which I didn't know. He's played in New York many times, but it's always been in New Jersey. He's never actually played in Yankee Stadium or in the Five Boroughs. So it was his Five Boroughs debut.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, because he
Yeah,
always
it's
played
true.
with Argentina.
He played,
It was always at Rebel
MetLife,
Arena
yeah, I
or
saw him.
MetLife
I saw him at MetLife. Yeah.
It's always at MetLife or Rebel Arena. Because he also came to play Red Bulls. And then there was another stadium you mentioned in Jersey. I forgot where. But anyhow, it was his Five Boroughs debut, we believe. So good for him. Big event. Good day for soccer. Lots of fun. 1-1. And I have two things I want to say. First and foremost,
Yeah.
Santi Rodriguez got suspended, right?
Yes.
He will not be at the Derby.
Not playing. Yep.
Because we have a big game to preview for both of us.
Uh-huh.
And
I
the
have
other
tickets.
thing-
I have tickets for that one.
Amazing. I'm going to be here in Los Angeles. I'll be watching it on Apple TV. So you'll be there in spirit for me. Let me know what it's like. I'll be watching. I'll be rooting. But the other thing is the tifo. We have this little tifo situation. What are your thoughts on the tifo?
I thought it was fun. I think the third rail always does a great job with these tifos, and I thought this one was fun too. It was, I think it was spot on. It's fun. I mean, it was lighthearted. It wasn't hostile. Should we describe it? Do you have a picture?
Oh yeah, let me share a picture. We have it here somewhere.
Well, it was a
describe
Barbie.
it a bit.
I could start describing it. It was a Barbie themed picture. I mean, so it was pink, and it was an appeal. I guess it was an appeal to the many local soccer fans who came to this game to see Messi or to support Miami, who don't usually come to see NYCFC. And so there it is. Don't be plastic. 100% plastic. It's a Barbie box, a Barbie looking box. Miami fan. It's a Miami fan. Messi sold separately, it says, and it says underneath, it says support your local club.
Now, this has caused controversy. Messi sold. So as a fan, and we have two different sort of opinions and angles on this. Now, the Messi sold separately was great. That I applaud. Because it's a Barbie box, and the Messi sold separately is amazing because it's 100% what MLS is doing, and U.S. soccer in general, and Inter Miami. They're treating Messi like a premium product, and it's the Messi show, right? It's Messi tour.
Yeah.
Like you know,
He's not included.
Messi,
he's not included in the regular. And it's not Mattel. It's not Mattel. It's Garber. Is the company? Is the company?
Oh,
on the box.
wait a minute! That shot's fired. I like that. It's pretty specific. I appreciate that too. Now, as a New York Red Bulls fan, we call you the plastics because NYCFC fans, we're not here for soccer. The whole support your local club is hilarious to us because you did not support your local club until a new club came and that was bigger and flashier and had more TV ads and had Frank Lampard on it. So that's why we call you plastics. So where do you guys? How confident do you feel calling Inter Miami plastics? If that's essentially what your reputation is.
Well, I think it. You could say it takes one to know one. I mean, yeah, we've been dealing with this accusation from the beginning, which never really made a whole lot of sense. We are like, because it was also not just because we came late, but because also there was this idea that we're a feeder club or whatever. And from a for Red Bull fans to say that, I mean, we're as much part of an international conglomerate as
Right.
much as Red Bull is. So
We've talked about this before. We're essentially identical.
yeah.
Like the clubs are identical. in a lot of
yeah,
ways.
exactly.
But-
So I don't really. I mean, I also don't.
But we're not plastic. We were here. We're the team. We were here first. If you want to root for American soccer in New York, there's only one team. That's the New York Metro Stars turned Red Bulls.
Well, except they're
But-
in New Jersey. I mean, that was
All New York teams are in New Jersey.
not us.
NYCFC is in New Jersey. Half of your games are in New Jersey.
Half of our games is, of course,
A third.
ridiculous
whatever.
exaggeration. Yeah,
The other half are in Hartford, Connecticut. Whatever. But
or in
but
Los
the other
Angeles.
thing of this, the other part of this, and one or two in Los Angeles, you go far. But the other part of this is a couple of people online, and I'm not necessarily agreeing with this or not, just some ribbing.
Okay.
A lot of people are like, how many of you NYCFC fans go to Brooklyn USL games? You know what I mean? Talk about support your local club. I mean, it gets more local if you want to support your local. So I think it's great, by the way. I do think it's fun that they're like Miami's, because they are. It's a bunch of people. There's just Messi. The minute Messi leaves, the Inter Miami fan base will go down like 75%.
Yeah.
But the vitriol of like, they're coming from a place of like, we're a local homegrown club. Just like, okay, come on now, pot meat kettle, my friend. You know,
But I
which
mean,
was-
but this is
So-
clearly a fun thing. It's not a. I mean,
but it's a good tifo because it gets people talking. I thought it was very.
yeah, it's very.
It gets people like me talking because it's like, where do you get off calling other people plastic? It gets the local Brooklyn fans talking because it's like, support your local club. The Brooklyn USL team was the local club. What are you talking about? And then it gets the Miami fans talking because it'll be like, you're run by blood oil Abu Dhabi money. It's like, what are you talking about? Support your local club. You know what I mean? So it's just fun little rip. And I went on Twitter, and I hope you saw this, Bjorn. I defended you. You specifically because a big thing with me, just in general, is when people owner shame and owner fight. You know what I mean? Like when they owner, it's like.
Yeah.
So I went on Twitter and I'm like, we can't choose our owners. We don't pick them. Trust me. If we picked our owners, they'd be different owners. It's like we have no say over who our owners are, barely any say over what they do. And also, I'll have you know that the MLS structure is that it's like a co-op. So when you sit there and talk about Inter Miami, NYCFC, or Red Bulls as owners, they're your owners too. They own 1/29th of the league. They're operators.
Right.
They're also your owners too. So for like people, because fans love to owner shame all the time, and like your owners and my owners, it's like there's no control. You know, New Yorkers live in New York, so they root for the New York NYCFC, the New York Red Bulls, right? You know, New England Revolution, and like in Chicago, they're owned by an equity firm. You know what I mean? Like we can't choose who our owners are. They're just the billionaires that get allotted these operated areas they get. But they're everybody's owners in the sense that they all own parts of the league, so they belong to everybody. That's just what I was saying. So I could have taken a cheap shot, but I did the more sensible take, and I said they're everybody's owner, my friend.
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, I agree. Yeah, I totally agree with you. At the same time, of course, you know, banter is always, you know, anything's fair game, I guess, for online feuds and people just, yeah. But I think no, it's the plastic thing. I don't know, but we all have opinions. Like I shake my head at the people. We had it again this weekend. People who show up to these Premier League events in their like full Everton or Liverpool and it's like, what is that? Is that a team? Yeah,
I think that's what the
It's a
TIFO was
team-
mainly doing. It was
it's a
taking
team
a
on
shot
a-
at those guys, right?
on a bunch of. Well, I mean, I think it was specifically addressing the people who were there, right? Like the people who were like, we could have 40. You know, nobody
Right.
traveled from Miami, right? Like
Right.
they came, they were local
They're all
people.
from the area, yeah.
You could all, you know, you could come every weekend, and
There was a picture. I should share this with you. There was this professional photographer who took pictures from the stands. They look great, really great pictures. but right in front of him in the section was a guy in a New York Yankees hat and a pink Messi jersey. And they're just,
right.
he's in a Yankees hat, and
And
he's
so-
not even a fan of it. He's like, but he's a Messi fan, but not a NYCFC fan. It's like, what is
Yeah.
that? And it's like,
I
yeah,
mean,
100%.
There is, it's a weird, soccer in this country is just odd. It's like, it's definitely happening, but it's different than anywhere else. And we're just
so
gonna,
different.
we're just gonna, kind of muddle our way through it and see what happens.
American soccer is a beast like none other. That is so
It
true.
is. It's very
There,
true.
there's a tweet out or something that's been reverberated. I saw it myself, and I heard it on a podcast. And someone said American soccer is a dude in a Tottenham jersey walking around the farmers market. that's
Yeah.
American soccer, and it's
Or
like,
people,
100%.
these masses showing up for these Premier League mornings or whatever. They're like, it's 4
Right.
a.m. or whatever that starts in
Right.
if they're on the West Coast. It's crazy, and they show up
And they're all
they
there for
act-
Crystal Palace, right?
They
Yeah,
act,
no.
for like Liverpool versus Man City. It's Man City against Arsenal. It's like life or death to these people. It's like, it's just odd. Yeah, it's Maddie. I was going to mention Maddie Freeze. This was another sort of very specific American thing, I thought, where Matt Freeze, keeper for NYCFC, has had a good season, had a solid season. He thought he should have been an all-star, which sort of gave me pause. Now Taylor Twellman, he had another great game before the Philly game, saved a point. And Taylor Twellman tweeted that he reminded him of Matt Turner. And then the floodgates opened on Twitter, and a lot of people saying, "Oh yeah, we're not going to keep him for much longer. He's going to, there's going to be offers coming his way. He's going to be," and I'm like,
Relax.
people.
Yeah.
He's 26 years old. He was Andre Blake's backup for 5 years. He's not going anywhere. And just let him be a decent. I don't tweet a lot, but this was one time where I was like, felt I had something to say. I was like, just let him be a solid MLS keeper, and that'd be totally fine. And I mean, I watch him every day, and I love him. I love the guy. He clearly won the starting spot over Luis Barraza. He's been very, very good. He's not Matt Turner. He's definitely not, going to go to a top 5 European league. He's, he has some, he doesn't have great command of the box. He has some shaky moments. He hasn't gotten punished a lot. And that's
He
good.
fumbled against. Did you see the fumble? He fumbled against over the weekend.
He had in the Miami game.
But,
He spilled a ball, and he's done a few of those, and they haven't typically gotten punished. The first one really was against Philly on Wednesday, where as if on cue, after all this talk of like how he's going to be the next Sepp Maier, he had a really awful game and dropped the ball in front of somebody. Leave the people alone, man. He's gonna be happy if he knows what's good for him. He will be happy to be a starting MLS keeper for a bunch of years. That would be a huge success for Matt Freeze, and we don't have to send him to Europe. We don't have to put that pressure of like, oh, he's too good for MLS. He's not. He's fine.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, it's also part of the discussion that is a big topic for me and seemingly no one else. But it's not always about coming and going. I do believe we should be exporting our best, but we should also be creating a solid American core of players for every club in this league, where they're like good club guys. They're like good enough for the club. They're very good for the league. They don't have to go to Europe. The Rebels used to produce a lot of these guys. When I look at a James Sands or a Keaton Parks or a Matt Freeze, I'm just like, good. Every club should have 6 of these guys. There should be a core of these guys at every club. There needs to be like a plethora of good, solid Americans who are about staying, not about coming and going.
And not everybody who's good. This is like, people mean this as a compliment, right? They're like, "Oh, this guy's good." Like my friend, one of my friends who I gave my tickets to, he was like, "Oh, Keaton Parks, he should be in Europe. He looks really good. He should be in Europe." I was like, "He was at Benfica,
Yeah, he was rejected.
and that didn't work, and now
He
he's
came back
here,
home.
and he's 27. He's not going back. Well, that's
Yeah.
fine. It's not a problem. It's like
Yeah,
being a
but
star.
also-
MLS is not a top 5 league. but it's probably a top 15 league or whatever. And so if you whatever, I don't even need to. We don't even need to. I don't even need to argue about that. Let's say top 20. If you are, if you're a starter in that league, you're not. This is a pretty good spot to be in, and you should think twice before you relinquish that for some like like Bill Hamid, like went to Denmark for 6 months. It's like
he's never the same again. Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, but that's what Argentina and Brazil do so well. I wish we'd do better, which is they send players on, but then they catch them right back if it doesn't work out. You can always come right back.
Yeah,
and I feel we do that, like with Keaton Park and James Sands are examples of that. But some players are never the same again, and no, 100%. So I support the great American club player. There's always like Dax McCarty has a very special place in my heart. And he was a solid MLS dude. He was never going to go off to, he could probably manage himself in the championship or something. But I don't know. What's the point? At a certain age, you just stick and be an MLS guy.
It's not for everyone, It's like it's a big culture shock. A lot of some people do well, others don't, and but if you are a starter, and Matt Turner, I actually really thought would do well. He is not one of those. Zach Steffen, we talked about this. When Zach Steffen went to City, I was scratching my head and still do. And but Matt Turner, I really thought was going to be good. But still, now he's kind of languishing. And he's kind of stuck. He's a victim of that big Arsenal contract. He has limited options. He's not going to just go back.
Maybe you mentioned that. Isn't that he was bought outright from Nottingham Forest? Isn't he? He's just he doesn't. He's not. He's not in Arsenal's books anymore.
Well, okay,
I'm pretty sure. Look, I think he's just.
But he's got it anyway. Whatever it is, he's got a Premier League starter contract. So on that, he's not going to go to MLS.
Yeah. Yeah, he's on loan from Nottingham Forest.
Yeah,
so
he's on the Forest books. He's not on the Arsenal. Yeah, right. I misspoke.
But still. Yeah, but it is what it is. So can I talk to you about one of the other things about American soccer fandom? And again, it's very varied. It is a beast like no other. There's so many parts to American soccer fandom that other countries don't have. It's just so complicated. One is there's two sides. One is our rose-colored glasses, but we don't even have to get into that right now. And the other is our inferiority complex. Americans have an inferiority.
What do you mean by the rose-colored glasses?
Okay, I guess I will get into it. So on CBS,
you just gotta explain what you.
On CBS, they compared a big topic, which I've had enough of, which we talked about here on the podcast. Is the golden generation sucks? Are they as good as the former generations? That talk is all summer. That's ad nauseum. On the CBS podcast over the weekend, they compared the 2002 team, the 2010 team, and the 2022 team or something.
Okay.
And the current crop lost every position for both of us. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about?
Oh,
like they wouldn't even give it time. Like it was without question, Mo Adu was twice the player that Tyler Adams is. It was part of the conversation. And I'm like, what are you talking about? In what world is Maurice Adu twice the player that Tyler Adams is? In what universe, Bjorn? Those teams, again, they fought hard for the World Cup. They fought us well. I love them to death. But I talked about this on Reddit. The guys talk about like a John O'Brien, like he's the great, like he would have been Maradona if he didn't get injured. Malik Tillman has already done more for PSV than John O'Brien ever was going to do for Ajax Amsterdam. And who the hell's talking about Malik Tillman? He's on our bench. He's not even a starting player. You know what I mean? Malik Tillman scored a brace in Champions League over. Malik Tillman is twice the player John O'Brien was ever going to be. All right, fight me on that. I mean, we look, and the fact that they look at like they looked at they're like, Eddie Lewis was the best outside back in the whole 2002 World Cup, is what they claim. I mean, I'm like, what the hell? Better than Cafu? What are you all talking about? What the hell are you guys talking about? Like and the funny thing they're buds. Like these are their buds. So
I don't know who John O'Brien is, honestly.
Exactly. Most people don't know who John O'Brien is, and it deserves that. That's John O'Brien was an Ajax Amsterdam player in the early to mid aughts. He was injured between 2002 and 2006. I think he played 4 games competitively, and he was on the 2006 roster still because we had no depth. And he was this guy of like, oh, John O'Brien, Ajax Amsterdam, oh, blah, blah, blah. And it was a big deal at the time, but look at it now. Who cares about a guy? We have 4 guys on PSV. Yeah, I don't like. But the fact that they did, like, you know,
Are you
they
counting?
do,
You're counting Richie Ledesma.
yeah. I mean, he plays. He's a right wing back. He's playing.
All right.
But
not
but
great.
do you understand, like, the fact that they'll be there and be like, oh yeah, no one beats the Mo Adu Michael Bradley pair. I'm like, between the Tyler Adams, Weston McKennie versus Michael Bradley Mo Adu, it's like, I don't know, man. Time or play, I don't think it's that big of a difference, if at all. I definitely prefer Tyler Adams over Mo Adu. And yeah, Michael Bradley in his prime, I prefer over Weston McKennie, I think, but we haven't even seen Weston's prime yet. So I don't know. It just really bothers me about how dismissive they are of the current crop and how they look so highly on how like Tony Sane was a beast. He was the best. Like, yeah, I like Tony Sane, but he was a second division Bundesliga player, man. I'll take Anthony Robinson over him any day. I just don't. That's the rose-colored glasses thing.
All right.
Those teams fought hard, played well, and I do respect that. But this current crop matched them as a young group and not in full capacity. Like, their 2022 performance was as good as the 2010 and 2014 performance. I just don't understand what the argument is of why the teams in the past were quote unquote so much better. Anywho, that's that thing. I do believe, for the most part, our current crop of guys definitely have way more
2022?
potential.
You mean 20?
The 2022 World Cup.
22, yeah.
Yeah. They made it to the round of 16. They matched the 2014-2010 team.
Yeah.
And
I thought played pretty well for the most part.
Yeah. So when people look at the 2010 team, like, oh yeah, we don't have Josie. It's like Josie scored sometimes, but he also spent years not scoring. And I think people forget those years. You know, I'll take Ricardo Pepi over Josie any day, to be honest.
Oh, I don't know. I was with you.
In Josie's entire career, he scored goals for 2 or 3 seasons of it. So during those seasons, sure, I would take
Pepi. The jury's out. What his story is long term.
He's scoring more goals, less minutes than I think anybody in the Eredivisie right now. Like, he is crushing it with his numbers. You can't even get on the field. But that's not what I'm going to talk about. Essentially, the current crop is too much. Should they work harder? Yes. Do we want them to be better? Yes. Are they young? Yes. They're going to get older. They are going to get a better mentality. They're going to get better. They got a new coach, like fire under their butt.
It's going
to get better.
What's funny to me is how this narrative has turned so quickly, because until like 3 months ago, everything was Greg Berhalter's fault. The players were amazing, and he was screwing everything up. And now, now that he's gone, now we're turning on the players.
It's the players. The players are 100%.
Now the players are we're preemptively already absolving Pochettino of any culpability, because it's now all the players' fault. I mean, it's just funny how that goes. How these kinds of
the players did get criticism, by the way. What you described was a narrative, but a lot of people were criticizing the players plenty, I think. You know, I mean, Alexi Lalas's famous rant on, it's like, you too, Wonder Boy, you know, like Pulisic was.
Well, Alexi Lalas was not anti-Greg. He was, to his credit, Alexi
Lalas just does whatever. He always does the opposite. He's an edgelord.
He's just a contrarian.
Bob
Bradley just left his job in Denmark after. So it's not like, you know, you were saying how Greg's never going to work again. It's not like everybody else is doing so well either. Like
Greg's going to Stebek. Yeah,
isn't he going to Chicago? That's not happening anyway.
No, I think I saw reports of that. But anyway, so that's the rose-colored glasses thing. Whenever I see about like, this team doesn't have the quality of the 2014, I was like, give me a break. It is rose-colored glasses. You only remember the good times, which is fine, but you got to remember the bad times.
During Timber start, last week I was comparing the U.S. 2022 team to the Dutch 2022 team. Jurrien Timber got the start against Man City this weekend, so he's a proper starter. He's a proper Arsenal starter.
And he's a Dutch player.
Dutch player who played in 2022 against the U.S. and was then a
His
young
name is Jim. His name is Jimbery Timber?
Jurian, I think.
Like the jury's out.
No, Jurrien, I believe.
When are the Dutch going to get real names? I mean, it's ridiculous. What the hell? But what do we got? Yop.
Yop and Thunder
Hey,
Thunder
Yop.
something.
Thunder.
Coleman.
Get some real names, all right? Mark.
Anyway,
what is that?
Anyway, I just wanted to throw that in. It's
Cody. The other thing is the American inferiority complex. So we have that. You have the rose-colored glasses. Right now on U.S. Soccer Reddit, there's a long thread debating whether we're allowed, because someone tweeted or someone said that Christian Pulisic is world class. And now there's a long thread debating whether we're allowed to call him world class or not. What kind of inferiority, like
is that a protected term?
self-punishment? No, it's not. There's no definition of world class. World class is just a good play. There's no definition. And then we're like, is there a definition? We got to. He scored this. We're allowed to call him this. Is he allowed to be a world class? It's like, boys, he's great. All right,
well,
leave him be. He just scored a couple of great goals.
He's had a really good week. I mean, he's had a really good week. If you can't get excited about your boy this week, then yeah.
No, it's like self-punishment. It's like this. It's like what is that? What is that called? The nihilists? We're nihilists. Is that the right word?
Self-deprecating.
Self-deprecating. It's like we can't.
Self-hating masochists.
We police ourselves because Pulisic isn't British or Brazilian or something. We have to police ourselves and debate whether we're allowed to call him a world-class player or not. But name any other country where that's the thing at all.
Well, we had I was thinking just now, I mean, it's obviously not the same thing at all, but, when Germany won the World Cup in 1990 after the reunification, there was this outburst of support. And people were waving flags in the street, and there was a backlash then. It was like, oh, are we allowed to do that? Are we going to start another world war?
But that's cultural. That's a different
totally
thing.
Different. Yeah, that's not the same thing at all.
That's bigger than sports.
It just came to mind. It wasn't a sports thing. We certainly are happy to call our players world class if they are.
Rudi Völler scored a great goal over the weekend at the Sportstudio. You know the Torwart?
Oh, he did?
Rudi Völler, first thing he did, I should have gotten a clip for this. First thing he did was slam one top left. Rudi Völler is world class, right? We would never ever doubt Rudi Völler.
At everything. But
Rudi Völler wasn't.
Rudi Völler probably opens his beer bottle world class. He's just good at everything.
But Germans don't look at Rudi Völler and be like, was he that good? We had that season in France, and they kind of benched him over. You know what I mean? They don't. Rudi Völler is a good player. He's a hardworking player. He's world class. There's no debate. The Germans wouldn't look down on one of their players and debate whether they're allowed to talk.
Probably not. I mean, that kind of thing does happen too. There's like these kind of distinctions that are made. Tom is saying Pulisic is elite.
Hey.
Hello, Tom. Pulisic is elite, in my opinion, but
not
world class. Not yet. Oh, it still hasn't hit his.
Tom, tell us.
He's almost 30 now. How old is Pulisic now? He's
not. He's 25 or something.
No, I'm just kidding. I know.
But so let's define
around
world
forever.
class. Let's play this game. Let's define. Tom, define world
boy.
class for us. I've heard Deep Mohammed in an English interview. I think it was Deep Mohammed. He was talking about the German national team. He says we have a few world-class players, a lot of international class players, and some national class players. He said that, and that's the first time I ever heard that.
Well, this is a thing. This is a thing that Kicker does. Kicker does this every year. They categorize. I think that's not just German national team. It's like Bundesliga players, and they have those. Those are the distinctions. There's world class.
So they do
international
have
international class and national class. Yeah.
What would be?
But
the
I mean,
what would be the?
What's the difference? Like if you take the 1974, you would say Franz Beckenbauer's world class, Wolfgang Overath is international class, and Georg Schwarzenbeck is national class.
National class,
or Heinz
I don't know about that. Aren't they
know.
all international class if they're on a World Cup winning?
If they're on the Well, I guess that's the implication, that if they're on the national team, they're at least international class. But that's also not true. I mean, I think
Shots
Sweat-
fired by Tom, by the way. His definition of world class is has to perform in all competitions at a high level and not fade against tougher and top teams in Serie A and UCL. Okay, now who doesn't do that? Because like Christian, they have this graph. Christian Pulisic in all of Serie A, the whole Serie A universe, has contributed to more goal contributions than any player in the last 2 seasons of Serie A. Any player, he's won
Wait,
more than
what?
Raphael. Yeah, than any
Is
player.
that true?
Yes,
On
This
that
is goal
team
contribution.
or
On this the last season and this season.
on the
he
team
has
or in the entire league?
in the entire league. He
What?
has 30
That's an
goal
incredible
contributions.
stat. I don't know that.
It
Is that
is.
true? That's
It
amazing.
is true. He has 30 goal contributions. Rafael Leao has 29. And then the Inter guys have 28 and the Juventus guys have 27. Christian Pulisic has more goal contributions in the entire league over the past 2 seasons in this area. So, who people fade. I mean, who does it not fade? Thomas Muller did shit against England. Thomas Muller can do shit against Real Madrid. Not every player shows up for every big game. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. So, do I think Tom, I'm not disagreeing with you.
Messi did nothing. Messi did nothing against Jimmy Sands.
Messi did almost nothing at the Copa this summer, right? Am I wrong? He was kind of injured for that last game. I don't know.
Well, all right. Oh, he played pretty well
But
until then.
what I'm saying is, like, no one. This comes with the American inferiority complex. In order for Christian Pulisic to be called world class, he has to be the best player on the field every game he plays. It's like, who is that? Who in the world is that? Cristiano Ronaldo's not that. They have good games, they do good work, they're pretty consistent, but they don't win every game. Sometimes they have better games than others. Do I want Pulisic to do better? Yeah. Do I want, he scored the opener and they beat Inter Milan in the Milan Derby this past weekend? Huge, right? And when was the last time an American's ever done that? And do I want him to lead AC Milan to the title this year? Hell yeah, I do. It's not looking great, but it'd be nice if that were to happen.
That's not going to happen.
Do I want Milan to do a deep run the Champions League and for Pulisic to score a brace against Barca in the semi? Hell yeah, I do.
Also not going to happen.
Could happen. He scored. He won a Champions League with Chelsea already. He scored goals. He scored the hat trick.
Yeah.
He's done good stuff. He's done great stuff. So I don't know. Would you call Pulisic a world-class player or not?
I think Tom is right in the sense that it takes a little while. Like, it's not, what's his name? Lemire.
Is Jamal Musiala world-class?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. He did that right away, though. How long has he been playing? 3 seasons?
No, but he's been good for a while. I mean, it's not like you have to be 35, but for example, Yamal on Spain. I mean, he will be world. I mean, he may be world.
Yeah, he had a
class
good
now,
summer.
Actually, he's been very, very good. But it takes a little bit more time, maybe.
Well, Pulisic's got 3 clubs. He's got a Champions League. He's got some titles. At least I think maybe some cups. I don't know if he has titles. I'm trying to think. But he won the Champions League with Chelsea, and he wasn't some obscure guy on the books. He played. He played in the final. He played leading up to the final. He's got a Champions League title. So he's maybe on the cusp. I'd love if he won another one. If he was a bigger, higher use player on a Champions League club, then I think there would be no doubt.
Well, I think world class. I mean, first of all, according to Kicker, world class is a really elite. For example, in the summer of 2024, the Kicker. I'm just looking this up. Kicker ranked the Germans in the international Germans playing in other countries, and they say nobody is world class. International class, we have Marc-Andre ter Stegen, Stefan Ortega on Man City. By the way, he should be a contender for. Well, he doesn't play enough, I guess. Tony
Stefan
Rudiger.
Ortega?
He's he plays for Man City. He's a backup keeper for Man City. He used to play for Bielefeld. Tony Rudiger, Tony Kroos, Ilkay Gündoğan, Kai Havertz are international class. And then national class is Bert Leno, Thilo Kehrer, Malik Thiaw, Pascal Gross.
I'd bump Pascal Gross up, by the way.
To international class?
Yeah, maybe I'm a Pascal Gross fan, but he hasn't done much wrong over the past year or two. I don't know.
Well, maybe they're bumping him. They're going to bump him up now that he plays more for the national team, maybe next summer. But this is like for kicker, by kicker's definition anyway, world class is a very elite. It's like reserved for the likes of,
Manuel Neuer, the World Cup
Manuel
winner.
Neuer,
Leo Messi, Cristiano Ronaldo.
Kylian Mbappe, like those kinds of players. And
Would
so
Zlatan be world class then?
Zlatan in his prime probably.
Even though he has
yeah.
no titles in his entire career.
Well, that's always, and there's never a. But it's like world class. You're thinking possible Ballon d'Or candidate, like that kind of. And I don't think Pulisic is there yet. But if he keeps this up for a couple of years, then maybe he will be.
Yeah, I think there was a long list, and he wasn't even on the list. Like there was a list of 100 guys.
Yamal
Maybe recently, and he
Musiala
was not
was not on the Ballon d'Or list, which I thought, he's probably in the extended conversation.
Universe.
Listen, these things are always debatable, but yeah, I think world class is a small group. It's like somebody you would think if you picked a team of any players you could pick, that person,
right?
Should be on
but
that's the kind of level.
by these definitions, I would then put Pulisic at international class.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's any question about that.
Right.
And perhaps at the higher end of that.
Yeah, definitely. And Bruce Arena was on Kicking It a couple months ago, and he was like, Christian Pulisic has the potential to be the best U.S. player ever. He's not there yet. He hasn't done enough. And I was like, well, he did win a Champions League, and he has played for 3 major clubs. And
he scored.
He already led the U.S. team to exactly the same spot as any of the former players. So I was just like,
he's
honestly,
up there in goals, right? He's up there in goals.
There's very little for him left to do to be already at 25. So again, these people who love to poo-poo the current crop and look highly on the last crop, I think they're becoming toxic almost. I think it's bearing on toxic a little bit.
Listen, I won't argue with you. I think yeah, I mean, there's a lot of posturing, always people. Sometimes there's this idea that being super critical is a sign of sophistication, and yeah,
I think it's not that. I think just our old school soccer guys are hard-headed and proud of themselves. It's the victim of being a big fish in a small pond. It's a part of the growing pains of developing soccer country. But like name any player from the past who 2 years in a row at Juventus was announced that his locker was gotten rid of, and he was announced no longer to be in the plans, only for 3 weeks later to be a consistent starter all of a sudden. Weston does that. Jermaine Jones, they love him dead. He never did that. Clint Dempsey never did that. Landon Donovan never did anything close to that. Weston's got grit, and he sticks into it.
But that's the beauty of it, right? We're gonna get to see all of this. We got we have the coach that everybody wanted, and it's less than 2 years to the World Cup. So
bronze medal, here we come. Bronze medal, baby.
Yeah. All right.
Bronze medal, here we come. You know who's going to win the gold? And
Germany.
You know Deutschland. Gold for Germany, bronze for USA. Let's do this. Schnitzel boys summer.
Yeah, let's go.
Schnitzel boys summer. Tom saying he's arguably the best player in the US. Yeah, I think I don't know. I would pick Pulley over Landon every day of the week. Okay, do you have any? We never talked. We have a big New York Red Bulls had a tie. New York Red Bulls played with Pep. Emil Forsberg is coming back for the derby this weekend. He will be playing against
that game.
NYCFC.
That game has tie written all over it. No,
the game's got tie written all over it. Baby. But I believe we still clinch a home playoff with a tie. I think because we're fourth place, you're seventh place. We
have not won. Weekend. We haven't won since July. We need some points, but there's only 4 games left, so yeah, not a lot left. Not a lot of room left to make up.
Here's for a peppy, energetic 2-2 tie. The 2 goal scorers this past week for New York Red Bulls, Dante Van Zier and Elias Manuel.
My main agenda.
But they scored 2 this past weekend.
My main agenda, my main hope for this game is that I'm going to find a new place in the Ironbound. The one that we usually go to is closed.
Oh, that sucks.
That does suck. So that's
There-
that's the agenda.
I always went to that good Brazilian place. I don't know where it is, but one of the good Brazilian.
Oh,
ones.
tell me,
Really
tell
good
me.
stuff. I'd have to. It's been a few years.
Tell
I'd
me
have to-
everything.
There was a
Well-
few. I used to go to the. It was a Red Bulls thing with a pregame. I don't know if you want to go there. Then there was another one, a Spanish tapas place down the street. That was okay. Then there was this cool Brazilian place around there somewhere. We could play, but I'm sure you'll find a good spot. There's a whole bunch.
Yeah, I think so too. All right.
Or you can do what I've done the last few times: hang out with the Five Guys. Huh? A lot of those they give you a whole bunch of fries.
I've definitely done that. Well, there's also a place that's that's not on the other side of the bridge. That's on the stadium side of the bridge, in one of those condo buildings. That's actually pretty good.
It's like a Japanese place, right?
No, it's another Spanish place, and that's not bad. So that's always a. The place we used to go to had a cool terrace, outdoor seating, so that was really fun. But we'll see. We'll find something else.
If you want to hang out with the Metro fans, they always have
I
that
do
one
not
place.
want to hang out with the Metro fans.
They grill hot dog, they grill sausages and bratwursts up. Be fun.
No. Thank you, but no.
I went in Rome. All right.
I
Good
mean,
luck.
you're the one
Good
who had
game.
who went to the Philly Union buffet. I don't do that kind of thing.
I was going to, but I missed it. I slept through. Otherwise, I would have.
All right.
But I also snuck out of the section by halftime. I just needed cheap tickets, and they were the ones offering it.
Anything.
Just like how I saw the Inter Miami game through the Red Bulls fan tickets. I brought my whole family.
That was
even though
good.
half of them were, it worked out great.
That was very
All right, everybody.
All right. Have a good night.
Don't poo-poo on the current crop. The current crop is good. Show some respect. RESPECT. Respect.